With excitement for the Game Awards really starting to kick up in just one day, which I will be streaming, by the way, about an hour before the show. On screen are some of the time zones that I'll be premiering at. I'll be starting about 1 hour ahead in advance, so I hope to see many of you there. But one of the titles that I'm most excited about, unquestionably, is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. For those of you who don't know, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was honestly my personal game of the year when it launched. I absolutely loved that title, from the story to the characters to the combat to the environments, the music. So much about that game was just absolutely stellar. Was it perfect? Not by any means, but I absolutely adored it. And so when the sequel was announced, coming once again from Respawn, I was absolutely ecstatic. And now it's officially been confirmed, after some leaks that took place, which we'll be intermittently discussing some of those, that it will be premiering at the Game Awards. We kind of knew that in advance, but Respawn gave us official confirmation. And so today I wanted to break down 5 reveals, 7. This is me editing. There's actually 7 reveals. Well, technically 8. I tack 1 on at the end of the video, so there you go. Enjoy. I think it's crucial for Star Wars Jedi Survivor to show off during the Game Awards announcement. Showcase, reveal. This is going to be the first time that any fan gets to see Star Wars Jedi Survivor, so they need to nail it. Of course, they're going to have fans such as myself of the first game hooked, but what about all the new audience that they could potentially draw in to try out the first game with excitement for the second game? So the first thing on this list of things that Respawn absolutely needs to confirm tomorrow is, for starters, I want to get the obvious out of the way, that would be the release date. It's already technically leaked that Star Wars Jedi Survivor was going to release on March 15th of 2023. This was officially coming from the Steam page listing of the game, which was then very quickly taken down, but not before people could screenshot it and share it all across the internet for everybody to see. And that's incredibly soon, but it would benefit Respawn to actually confirm or deny that that date was real, because if they say absolutely nothing about it, and this is why, even though it seems obvious and we're probably going to get it, if they don't say anything, it will make fans pretty nervous and some fans a little bit disappointed. It could be later in the year, hell, it could be 2024. It's not a big deal to me, but just give us something to work with. One thing that was officially released was a key art poster for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and maybe I'm in the minority in this one, but the thing I immediately gravitated to was Cal's beard. And yet, everybody else, probably more reasonably so, locked onto Cal's blaster, which is undoubtedly going to be a new gameplay mechanic in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, being able to wield both a lightsaber as well as a ranged weapon at the same time, switching between different fighting styles, and that opens up a window of possibilities for combat. In this case, I do hope that it's one of the central aspects that they show off during their gameplay reveal, one of the core mechanics that they really flaunt and taunt and showcase and tease to everybody, because it's going to, one, reveal a lot of factors about the game, right? So if we are seeing any kind of blaster combat, we get to see some of the cool moves that you can do, some of the cool styles that you can do. It might give us insights into some of the abilities and unlocks that you're going to be able to, well, unlock. A lot of the coolest abilities that you were able to get within Jedi Fallen Order were unlocked through the skill tree and spending your skill points that you got from leveling up, and I would like to see some of those in play, in action, during the Star Wars Jedi Survivor showcase, so I can get more excited about the game to see how it's improved from its predecessor. According to the leaks that came out on Steam, one of the pre-order bonuses or bonus for the deluxe edition of the game was a blaster set, a custom skin for blasters. We'll talk about what they mean by blaster set, because I do think that's an important detail to go over, but it's going to be a core part of the experience. I mentioned before how most of the cool abilities that you can unlock throughout the game were done through leveling up and spending your skill points, and that brings us to number 3 on this list, which is undoubtedly going to be the level up system. At some point during the trailer or the showcase or whatever we get, showing off exactly how wide these skills are. They're not necessarily have to go into the specifics of each one, but we've seen it before in trailers where you kind of get that short snippet of a clip where it just pans over the skill trees and you could see how many different trees there are and how many abilities in each tree. That gets me personally excited, especially if we're talking about brand new fighting styles. Is blaster combat going to have its own skill tree? Are we still going to be just stuck within the 3? Is it completely overhauled to something new where it's not 3 separate branches but instead condensed into one thing? How are they going to lay it out? I'm really excited for the new abilities. I loved what was presented in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and it's not unreasonable for a sequel to be expecting what we had there and then more. Speaking of more, number 4 on the list are the planets and the amount of locations that we can actually go around and explore. In Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, there were 6 that you could properly kind of go around, I believe. Going back to some of the leaks that we received, it did state that we'll be returning to some familiar planets as well as going to plenty of new ones. Exactly how many, however, is unknown to us. It's also worth mentioning that it says familiar frontiers in the Star Wars galaxy, so whether that's something like Coruscant or Tatooine or those types of planets that have been in film and TV, possibly, or whether we're going back to Dathomir, back to Kashyyyk, back to Zepho or Bogano or any of those planets we explored in the first game. Whatever it is, it's fine by me, but I would love if there was some moment in the trailer where that galaxy map pops up, we get to see all the planets that we can explore, and fans can get excited about the diverse array of locations and side content possibilities that are going to be available to us. One of the most exciting things about a sequel for me is always that studios have the potential to simply build upon. They've already laid the groundwork and framework for their sequel into the series, so they just build on top of that, which means they can focus more on the writing, they can focus more on the locations and adding more environments and more nooks and crannies and side paths to go down instead of just having the one linear route, which Jedi Fallen Order had side paths so you can go off and explore, but more of those, because I genuinely enjoyed some of those little puzzle rooms, stuff like that. They have already the framework, now they can expand upon it and make it better in a sequel. Number 5, and this one might be a little bit obvious, but that's an extended look into the game. Not a 2 to 3 minute gameplay trailer, but genuinely maybe 5 or 6 minutes of footage that we actually get to really dive deep into and explore and tear apart in post reviews and follow-ups and analysis videos. Something meaty, something chunky to dig our teeth into to get excited for the game. This is the first time, and I can't emphasize that enough, the first time that audiences are getting to see it on screen. And maybe it's selfish, but I don't want to have to wait for follow-up shows and follow-up interviews and new trailers in order to get some of the deeper looks into what this experience is going to be, especially if the title is going to be releasing in 3 months, and that's a big part of it as well. Especially if pre-orders are going to be going live during the Game Awards, which I very well think they might be. Let players know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Let players know what they're purchasing before they spend $60+ or $70 potentially dollars on your game. Don't take people's money without showing it off. Yes, it is a sequel. We have Jedi Fallen Order, so we generally know what we're getting ourselves into. But whether it was Activision or Infinity Ward or it was a Bethesda studio, I would say the same exact thing to them. I don't care if it's a sequel or not. Don't take people's money without showing us the product. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you didn't get too attached to ponchos or just simply won't miss them, because it appears as though they're not going to be the customization draw in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Instead, this time around, we have proper skins. Yes, you can still customize BD1's skin as well, because who doesn't love that little droid? I love him so much. But in Jedi Survivor, we actually have different skins and robes that you can customize Cal with, and while maybe it will take away from some level of continuity if they're constantly switching Cal's skin throughout the trailer, I would personally love it. Again, I'm not looking for all of them. I want some of them to be a surprise, but to showcase some of the breadth and some of them that they have in the game would be pretty cool. Beyond that, though, of course, lightsaber customization is going to make a return, and has that changed, or has it stayed the same, where we have the sleeve, the emitter, and the material that you can customize? And what about the blaster? I mentioned before that part of the leaks that were showcased in the pre-order bonuses mentioned how you get the combustion blaster set. Similarly, it referred to the Hermit lightsaber set as one of the customization bonuses that you can have. And what I assume that this means is that, like lightsabers in Jedi Fallen Order, blasters will be customizable in Jedi Survivor, whether it's the grip, whether it's the barrel. I believe there's a part, the emitter nozzle. Maybe you can customize the color of the blaster bolts or the sound. There's so many different sounding blasters in Star Wars. Maybe you can customize exactly the sound that it makes when you do fire it. So many customization options there that are available, and I hope that we get to see a little bit of that as well, especially because, again, I pretty much know that it's going to be a possibility based on the terminology that they used. As a fun fact, there were 21 ponchos that you can get in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so the question is raised, are they going to up that with the amount of skins that you could achieve, or because they're generally more detailed and they're more time consuming to make, are we actually going to see less amount of skins, but they're much more exciting when you actually get them? And last on today's list, this one is more of a wish list item, I guess I will say, for the game as a whole than something they need to reveal. I'll just be honest, but it's Cal using the dark side of the Force. At some point, you know that little snippet after you think the trailer's over, you get that one last clip, and then you see Cal Force choking somebody to get information or something. Like, it would just be awesome, and it would open the floodgates of speculation about how much can we customize that? How much can we lean into it? Is there choice and consequence that comes from using the dark side of the Force? Or, of course, is it simply going to be reserved for story elements? There's so much there, and of course, it opens up some story implications, right? Some people might think that it kind of takes away from Cal Kestis as a character, especially because, spoilers for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a big part of the game was him kind of pulling back Seer from using the dark side and making sure she doesn't succumb to it. So for some people, I could see how it might take away from Cal as a character if he then starts using the dark side of the Force. He's completely contradicting what he stood for as this paragon brand new Jedi in the first title. I would also, however, argue that my take on it is that humans are incredibly fallible creatures. We're prone to make mistakes, and a lot of times the advice that we give is more of a do as I say, not as I do type of thing. And so to see Cal succumb to that pressure in order to save what he loves and follow down the same mistakes that Seer made without even realizing it, or by standing by his decisions, right? I think those can be very impactful, and you get more of the effect that I think Seer was trying to give you as a character in the game. You'll get more of it because we've already played the first title as Cal, and now we get to experience the whole arc of it in Jedi Survivor as Cal. So do with that what you will. So those are 7 things that I want to see during the Star Wars Jedi Survivor reveal. I guess I could actually tack on one last one as a little bonus here, which is a new face to the cast. We've seen some guys from the trailers, right? We've seen the Imperial Senator that was there, but a new friend to Cal, a new character that's going to play a part in our journey. That'd be cool to tease somewhere in the trailer. And the last bit that I want to go over here is the recommended and the minimum specs. Part of the reason why I genuinely think some of these are believable, or this leak in particular is believable, it just went up too early. The one thing I will say though is, oh my god, 130 gigabyte game. How massive is this title exactly going to be is beyond me. Either it's just going to be very graphically pushing for what we get to see in this game, or it's just a massive amount of content, potentially both. We'll have to wait and see for the reveal tomorrow, but thank you guys so much for tuning in to this video. Leave your thoughts down below, and as always, I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.